What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to another edition of the Bronx Muchachos podcast. I'm your host for tonight, David, and I'm alongside El Jefe, Mark.
What's up, everyone?
And Alex should be joining us in a little bit. Danny is on vacation in the Big Apple visiting family, so happy vacation to Danny. For our listeners and followers, you can find us on Anchor Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a 5-star review. Let us know how much you love what we're doing week in and week out. Helps us get better, helps us create more content. So, Mark, I think we've been kind of counting down to this episode for a few weeks now. The anticipation on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, everyone's been trying to put the dots together to guess who we're bringing along tonight, and I'm sure we probably are confusing a bunch of people. So
it's always good to keep them, all the listeners, guessing once in a while. I mean, a little mystery into a relationship like that's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. So tonight we are joined by the New York Yankees, ranked 19th prospect, drafted in the 5th round of the 2018 MLB draft out of Troy University, finishing the 2021 season with a promotion to Double-A Somerset and Pensacola, Florida's own Brandon Lockridge. Brandon, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely. So, Brandon, for the listeners that are just hearing about you for the first time that don't really have a very versed knowledge of the Yankees farm system, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody, what your journey has been like from youth ball to college to the minors?
So I guess I could say I grew up, obviously, Pensacola, Florida. Played a bunch of sports. My dad had me in a bunch of sports from an early age. Obviously, baseball was kind of the one for me. I got to high school, kind of narrowed down my sports, stuck with baseball. I was best at baseball, you could say, I guess, at the time. Kind of in all honesty, in high school, I just wanted my goal was to play college baseball. Once I made that dream come true, it was like I got to college, I was enjoying it. I wanted to start in college. I was fortunate enough to start as a freshman at Troy. It wasn't until probably after my sophomore year. I had a pretty good sophomore year at college. I was a temporary contract guy up in the Cape and started getting some talks from professionals. Played basically infield my whole career up until my junior year of college. I came back in the fall. My coach basically asked me, he's like, "Hey, we've got some scouts asking, your speed would play a little better in center field. Is that something you'd be willing to do?" I told him absolutely. I mean, this is kind of a dream come true. I'm starting to get some professional talks. It's like, at the time I kind of just blinked and all of a sudden it was like, wow, is this actually like a possibility kind of thing? Had a really good fall in front of a bunch of scouts at school. And it was like 6 months later, I was, sitting around my house in Troy after the season and, got the call by the Yankees. And it's been a blessing ever since,
That's wild. So what was it like going from high A Hudson Valley to Double-A Somerset in the same year? How much of a difference in the competition is there? What are some of the obstacles you had to overcome after the promotion to Double-A from high A ball? And how did you find so much success in just 75 games total last year? I mean, what stood out to me was the batting average, 298 batting average, almost 20 home runs in just 75 games. How were you able to do that?
I've tried to explain to some people before, like, I mean, everybody was talking about how much better I played in Double-A compared to high A. You got to realize, like, after a year of really just missing a year of development season, like that was my first time playing in Hudson Valley since the fall of 2019, like in true games, like we obviously had some minor league games back in 2020 when we got shut down, but like, playing under the lights at night, it's a different feel, you kind of forget after that's the longest I'd ever gone in that year without competing, like I trained, I worked out, I did a lot of things to improve my game, but you just really can't replace that competitive factor, So I got into Hudson Valley. I started off really good there. Felt great. I was putting together quality at bats. Had a groin injury that kind of set me out. I can't remember exactly how long it was. Maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks. Kind it was unfortunate. Like I said, got back playing. Obviously, the struggles that come back with being off for a month, early on in Hudson Valley, and then kind of started rolling a little bit. Got a call on our Monday off day that, hey, you're going to Double A. Kind of caught me off guard. I was just like, wow, okay, this is great. Got moved to Double A. I really had started rolling. I was confident in my game. Double A, I would say, there's talent at every level. I would say the consistency is a little bit better. You got guys in 2019 that are now in the big leagues, that I play with in low A, it's just the talent's there. Everybody's got arms. Everybody's got good stuff. I think in Double A, they're around the zone a little bit more. I'm a guy that likes to get my swing off. If you're going to throw strikes, I'm going to swing, and I'm not.
Yep.
That's something I enjoy. I enjoy doing.
That's not a bad thing. We need more of that.
Absolutely. So if they're going to come right at me, I'm going to go right at you, and I love it. That's kind of like the competitive thing. The pitchers trust their stuff there. They want to come right at you and get you out, and I feel like that helped me. It kind of plays right into my game. I would say I kind of just got hot rolling in Somerset. My confidence was high. I've told people too in the past that I think 2020 would have been my year. I was feeling as good as I've ever felt, getting to play in some big league spring training games early on back in 2020, and then to have the season unfortunately shut down like it was. It sucks. It was a lot to have to deal with, but I've picked up kind of where I'm at right now. I picked up right where I left off in season last year. I feel as good as I did all through Double A as I right now. So it's like in the past you kind of feel like you step back after time off. When I was younger, like my first couple years of professional baseball, it's like I come back in the spring and it's like you're knocking the rust off, trying to build on what you built last year. And I feel like I've picked up right where I left off last year, which is great. That's what you hope for as a player. You don't want to lose anything, when you get something going that works for you.
It almost becomes muscle memory at that point.
Absolutely. And that I think is going to be something that's going to help me, and my confidence is as good as it's ever been. That's a key to this game. It constantly beats you down, and to know and trust in what I've done and the work I've done. I think it's going to be a really good year.
Yeah, 2020 really. I can't even imagine what it was like for you guys, losing a whole year of development, just kind of languishing around, sitting around, not doing anything. For us fans, it was rough. My wife and I, our son was born in February of 2020, and the day the pandemic hit Jacksonville, Florida, they literally locked down the NICU ward. And before I went to the hospital, about 3 days before we brought him home, I was watching the Yankees play the Nationals, and it was when they slugged the season dead. And I was like, you know what? I was actually looking forward to going to a spring training game this year. And then the hammer dropped. I was like, come on, man. I was like, God. But what are you gonna do? So another question I got for you is, what has been the one thing that has surprised you the most in your short time playing pro ball?
One thing. I've talked to this. A bunch of guys agree with me that play. People have always said, it's more job-like. I will admit that baseball now is way more job, because it is a job. I've never gotten paid to play baseball until now. So I think of trying to understand on, in college you play 3 to 4 days a week. There's some time, there's days in there between. In professional baseball, and up until this last year, you play every single day if you're healthy, So it's like getting over those bad days so that a bad day doesn't turn into 5 bad days. It is literally you clock in, you clock out, and that's been a big thing for me that I've had to learn. 2019, you would dwell on it. I'd lose sleep at night over bad performances and everything, and it's like, obviously there's still a lot of that now where you're thinking of, your bad day. What do I need to do better? But at the end of the day, you got to literally trust your work, trust what you're doing, trust your routine that you're in, and try to bring it every day. You're not going to always have your best swing that day. You're not going to feel great, but regardless of it, you got to go out there and compete and just beat the pitcher.
Exactly.
So that's something that it's taken a while for me to learn, but you're going to be a miserable person if you're wearing every single bad performance on your shoulder. That's been something. It's your job, but at the end of the day, as a hitter, you're going to fail more than you're going to succeed. So it's like, you got to just be okay with being bad at your job some days,
Yes, no, absolutely. That's totally true. So last year, with all the injuries, the COVID, positive test that came out that pretty much took the entire starting lineup out for 2 weeks with the big league club. Was there ever a time last year where you were thinking that, maybe this might be the year, because they were starting to bring up guys like Ryan Lamar, Estevan Florial, Greg Allen? Did the thought ever cross your mind last year that maybe that you might end up in the big leagues as a reserve outfielder given the situation that was at hand? Or is that too much?
I do think that would be a reach for me, in all honesty, from where I was at last year. I mean, I know there was some prospects between me and the big leagues. It's a very known thing of who's between you and the big leagues, and I do think that would have probably been a stretch last year. I was taking it a day at a time. Like I was happy to see improvements in my game.
Right.
Had that have happened, would I have been mind blown? I mean, it'd have been amazing. Like that's my goal. I would have loved to have made it to the big leagues 2 years. Whatever. But I mean. I honestly, I don't think I ever really crossed my mind that last year would have been an option. I definitely think I'm closer than I've ever been. And it's kind of a weird feeling to know that, you're a couple levels away, you're a couple injuries away from, the big leagues. When you're at lower level, you feel like you're so far away. Like in 2019, you can't even grasp it, but I mean, I'm to the point now where it's like, wow, this is something that I believe in myself. I believe I can do it. And it's really just a call, one call away, really.
Right.
Now, speaking of that, what's the difference? What's the major difference between like a minor league player and a big leaguer? So, because you've been able to kind of pretty much had to have faced some of the big leaguers along the way during rehab stints or anything like that. What's the major difference you see between the two?
Major difference. I mean, and quite honestly, like you really, if you put a bunch of guys out there on a field together and you just started rattling off guys, like I wouldn't be able to tell a difference, in all honesty. I mean, once you get to the upper levels, I'm sure there's a difference in, I haven't faced any. I guess I did face Bieber last year at the end of our AA. He did a rehab start, Shane Bieber. But I mean, their consistency, I guess you could say, that they're all around the zone. They throw every pitch for strike. But once you really start getting to AA, there's a lot of guys that do that already. I can't tell you how many guys that I'm curious to see down the road, what their big league careers look like. Because you just face good dudes. Every day you go out there, there's a guy. Every team you play has a guy that, throws hard, has command, has good stuff. And it's just a matter of, sticking to your strengths and approach,
So what's your approach at the plate then when you're batting? What's your favorite pitches? Like what do you, when you get up there? I know, everyone wants to mash, and I know you've been mashing the ball, but what's your full on approach when you get up to the plate?
So it depends on the pitcher. I would say we have a pretty advanced scouting reports now. I mean, we have, you can almost, if you don't know how to, and it really has taken me a little while to take what I need, from scouting reports, because you can kind of get an information overload to some sense. But depending on what the pitcher's got, if he's got an elite secondary, I'll push my fastball sides. But my thing is, I got always be on time for fastball. I'm always basing my approach around fastball timing. The guy's throwing harder, I try to get my load started a little bit sooner. But I'm thinking fastball down the middle, I'm hitting it to right center field. If he works in, I trust my hands, I can turn on it. But I feel like it puts me in a good balanced position to be able to handle off speed. If I'm thinking fastball down the middle, hit it to right center field. That's kind of what I thought last year. On the guys there's guys that have the ride, the riding fastballs, I picture a fastball up. That's the pitch that I got to be the shortest to. Yeah. So I picture that if I'm have my short swing ready at all times on a fastball up, I'm going to be good for everything else, So that changes depending on the guy. The lefty with a lot of change ups, I have to see him up. There's a variety of different things that I go to the plate and have to think about.
Then when you do cage work for that, you take the high velocity machine. You guys move it closer, so it kind of makes it more like 105. Kind of, I've heard stories people move that machine close, so you're swinging at like 105 mile an hour pitch or something like that, just so you get
we
that
do a variety. Yeah, we I would say most of our training is it's in the mid 90s range type of stuff. I mean, I feel like you can almost get into some bad habits to personally if you're like doing it too fast, like you're going to rush your swing.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the few percent of guys that throw in the hundreds, it'd be kind of silly for me to base all my swings around just getting to 100. I think that's just a short get loaded earlier, have a shorter swing on those guys. But we have we have angled BP, so we have machines set up at slight angles, whether it's open, closed. We hit more machine than, if I could go back to college, I'd hit more machine work. I mean, the stuff we do now, it's not comfort training. You're not going to leave the cage some days and feel, man, I just feel great right now. But when you get the game, things feel slower now because you challenge yourself in practice so much. And I mean, there's some days where you leave the cage and I'm like, man, did I just catch a barrel in my whole round? And it's like, you got to think back. I can count on one hand how many barrels I got in the cage, but then you get in the game and you're facing some pitchers and it's like, wow, this feels way easier than the work that I just put in, So
I definitely got you. And coming up from Pensacola, wanted to take it back just there for a minute. Were you doing like the travel ball route, playing or were you strictly little league, and then when you hit high school you just kind of blew up from there?
Travel ball's changed so much from just when I was in high. Like things are so different. They were starting to get the perfect game stuff.
Yeah.
I did play travel ball coming up as a kid, but it was like a local travel team. Like it was kids, guys in my local area's dads that ran the travel teams. You bought your shirt and everybody supplied their own pants. It wasn't you pay $2,000, $3,000 for an elite team and you get all this different gear and bags and stuff. It was never to that caliber. It was mainly just to get at bats, face competition. We'd go to Atlanta, different city, Panama City, play around. Then once high school came, it started being a little bit more big thing to like go to Lake Point, play in the perfect game, all the different places that the elite high school guys play in now. I played for my high school team. I mean, at the time, like I've kind of always tried to be good at wherever I'm at. Like I wanted to start for my high school every year. So what better way than that to be there and play well for my high school summer team? Impress my coaches that I'm around to try to earn a starting position there. I did eventually play. I think it was more like my junior year. I went with the teammate and played in East Cobb for a perfect game tournament or whatever. They needed a fill-in shortstop, second baseman at the time. So I went and played in that. But I did a few showcases. That's kind of where I got saw. A few of the junior college showcases in the Panhandle, Florida. Went to Chipola, the Northwest Florida State College. Like all those schools held little showcases. They'd have some Division I coaches there. And it did help. Our high school team was like the best in the country for my sophomore year of high school. We were ranked number 1 in the country. And that had a lot of scouts, coaches, everything coming to watch a bunch of guys. And I was the young and up and coming guy at the time. So that helped a little bit.
No, that's always good. That's always fun. And
Absolutely.
yeah, man. And then speaking of high school, I mean, I know because I have a lot of friends whose sons they're 8th graders going into high school, or they just got freshmen, or they're just becoming freshmen in high school now, or they're finishing their freshman year. And I know that training for high school ball has been changed. Did you use like a lot of weighted balls, resistance bands, things like that, or was that kind of still a little bit more on the taboo side back then? I mean, it's not far enough away. I mean, I know I'm much older than the rest of you guys, but
yeah,
even back then, no one was really lifting weights back then.
Yeah, I didn't know much about the weighted ball stuff at the time. I knew bands and stuff. I did some band stuff for my arm. The big thing for me, I was small. I was really skinny. I didn't grow really till hit my growth spurt till like my late sophomore year of high school. So the big thing for me was catching up with strength and stuff. Like I went to a couple local guys, that trained more football style stuff. I just needed to get stronger. I really got faster when I got my legs stronger. I'd always kind of been quick twitch. But so I kind of dedicated like my junior, senior year, and even freshman, all my years in college to getting stronger, building a bigger engine. And I think that's helped me, obviously with bat speed, power, speed, all of it. But like I said, I didn't have any of the new, plyo ball, none of the anything to help my arm strength at the time.
Gotcha. So I was reading before that you are considered one of the fastest, if not the fastest prospect that the Yankees have. How does that feel to be known as that?
I mean, it's a cool title, I guess. I mean, I will say this: there are a lot of really fast guys in our organization. There's some free talent, man. Like being around these guys every day. I'm about to turn 25 this month. There's guys, 5 years younger than me or younger that are just. I'm excited to watch them grow into, when they're my age, they're gonna have years of showtime. Like it's a fact, and it's fun being around these guys. They push me, I mean, our environment that we've created kind of from a minor league standpoint there's going to be a lot of guys have career years this year. And it's credit to their work and, the way, the Yankees have structured our training stuff for the offseason and everything. It's going to be fun.
So what goes through your mind when you hear, so I've been poking around online and so the latest comparison that I've seen for you is Manuel Margot of the Tampa Bay Rays. Also heard you're drawing the comparison to the right-handed version of Brett Gardner because the slap hitting, the speed, all that. Like, what goes through your mind when you hear stuff like that?
I mean, it's an honor. Obviously, those are extremely good big league guys. The Brett Gardner thing, like he's a guy I've looked up to. Being a Yankee, being drafted by him, knowing who Brett Gardner has been, my whole life. Like I said, I think it's an unfair comparison because those guys are great. Like I haven't done it yet. Like I've still got to grow into that, but I'm confident that I can. And like I said, I mean, it's a cool thing. The way Brett Gardner plays the game and has played the game, through his career. I know he's getting older now, but seeing, the role he's had in the locker room and being the, not face of the Yankees, but, just a big time leader for the team. It's a cool thing to be around him and have had the chance to be around him, so.
Yeah. So you're eligible for the Rule 5 draft this year. And us Yankees fans have kind of some PTSD when it comes to the Rule 5 draft because of what we saw happen with Garrett Whitlock going to the Red Sox and then doing his thing. When you think about the Rule 5 draft, is it something that's constantly in the back of your head, like, oh, man, where am I going to end up? Who's going to take me? Or are you just of the mindset of, like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. I can't control it. I'm just going to do me and be the best version of me.
Yes and yes to both. I mean, to both those. It's there. It's in the back of my head, like it's hard to not think about it. Like I said, my goal is to be in the big leagues and, I'd love nothing more than to stay with the Yankees the rest of my career. Like that'd be ideal. It's one of the the best organization in the world, in my opinion. So, but at the end of the day, I do know the Rule 5 is supposed to happen. I don't know really with the lockout being extended right now. There's rumor that it could be canceled.
Yeah, well, they were saying once the CBA is signed, it could happen like the week after that. It's instituted. So
I'm like I said, I can't control where. If I'm in Double A this year, I've got to play well. If I'm in Triple A, I got to play well. If I get Rule 5 done with another team, I got to play well to stay in the big leagues. So I'm going to do everything I can every single day to have that happen. If my goal is to be in the big leagues and I start out with Double A with the Yankees this year, then I'm going to have to play well at that level. And I get promoted to Triple A, I'm going to have to play well at that level. I've always heard making the big leagues is fairly easy, but staying there is the hardest part. I've talked to a couple big league guys, and I mean that's the truth of the game. There's always somebody else coming up to try to take your spot. So I'm gonna have to play well at every level, and I'm just gonna keep blinders on and try to improve every day to make that happen and play as long as I can.
Well, we hopefully we'll see you play in AAA. Hopefully, get added to the 40-man and give us some outfield depth that we've been so desperately craving over the last couple of years, and we hope you stick around. So
I hope so. I hope so.
I'm gonna pass you over to Alex.
Yeah. Actually, just how you doing first, Alex over here? Sorry about being late. Being a dad happens. You'll understand that. You'll get it. Don't know if you have any kids right now, but if you don't, you'll understand when you have them.
No kids yet.
Take your time. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm 35, and it's like,
you know what? As a father,
time,
as we're all fathers, we're going to say this right now. Take your time.
Don't rush it.
You have especially when you make it over to the Bronx, you take your time. Don't rush anything.
Take the Jeter route, man. Just wait till you're 40.
Jeter route. 40, retired. That's it. Done with.
Exactly. But no, like going back to actually how Dave's question and everything like that. So after last season, how upset were you that you didn't make it to that 40 man after everything you did? Like you were pretty close to making it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew. I spoke with my agency, coaches within the organization. I mean, it was a coin flip, and they were honest with me. They said, like, you're a fringe guy, like you're a fringe 40-man guy. I had been around a while. I was at a mini camp in the fall. I'd be lying if I wasn't, saying I wasn't hopeful. Like I was hopeful. I tried to think as positive I could. It didn't happen, and every single guy though that got added to the 40-man was 100% deserving of it. And I mean, I'm around these guys every day. I see what they do. If that's what the Yankees think is, the best move, and I can't disagree with them, and all I can do is play, and, maybe next year's my year, I mean, that's all I can do. I was upset though,
You can't disagree with him, and I understand that, but me,
Mhm.
I will.
We don't need him disappearing.
I don't need you just saying anything bad for the organization. I understand that, but guess what, everybody? I will disagree right here.
I appreciate you.
That's because we can.
Exactly. And as a Florida person to another Florida person, I'm going to ask you one question. Then. How happy are you that Snook season's back in season?
That what?
Snook season's back.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I was actually talking to one of our guys the other day. In my part of Florida, we don't have snook like y'all have down here.
What?
Yeah, so we're mainly redfish and trout back home. So
you got to come down to South Florida then.
That's what I'm saying. I've heard there's some really good snook down here. Didn't the season just open up for snook or something?
Yes, it just opened up this week actually.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, that's what.
My plans are probably about 6:00 in the morning. Being out there.
I need to get on something. I don't know the spots, so I don't have a boat down here. I mean, I'm kind of limited to my areas, so got to figure out where they're at.
Hey, that's when you hook up with one of the big leaguers, man. You just tell them, "Hey, let's go out. We'll go fishing right now."
Hey, and if you can't get a boat, you could always do the old-fashioned way. You could go to the marina, have fun at the marina, put the baseball cap on, just find a bridge and just have fun.
True.
There's nothing wrong with the old little cooler of beers. Come on, you're gonna catch something, either a buzz or some fish.
No kidding.
So, Brandon, let me ask you, with the current state of affairs of Major League Baseball right now, is the CBA negotiations affecting you guys that aren't on the 40-man roster? Because I look at the guys like Peraza, Cabrera, Sears, guys like that are on the 40-man that can't even play in a game in the minor leagues. And, some of them haven't even played an inning in Major League Baseball. It's just something that I don't agree with. I think that these guys should be allowed to play for their minor league affiliates until this thing gets worked out. Tell me, what are your feelings about this?
If you
can, I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, I'll be honest with you and everything. I don't know a lot that goes into it. I mean, obviously we're not part of the union, so all I hear is what's kind of put out there. It's unfortunate for those guys. Every spring training I've ever been to, I've had those guys around me.
Right.
It's weird seeing their names not on lockers right now. And I mean, we're getting great quality work in right now, while some of our most important guys in the organization are not allowed in the facility. I mean, it's just a crazy concept.
That's got to be a weird feeling.
I do know that they are working. There's a lot of guys that are actually in town or.
Oh.
Looks like we lost Brandon for a second there.
Technical difficulties. That's all. He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. You just got to wait for him to reconnect.
I think it's
MLB heard us talking.
He's laughing about it now.
Commissioner's office just cut us right off, dude.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Rob Manfred cut you off right there.
Did the commissioner tap your phone and just cut you right off? No, you can't talk about this, Brandon.
No, but what I was saying though was that I do know there's a bunch of guys that are local, that are 40-man guys, and from what I've heard, they've got a pretty good little setup going. There's guys doing scrimmages. I mean, we got multiple organizations meeting up at a local field, from what I'm hearing. Some of our pitchers are throwing it to other hitters. I mean, they've made teams locally. I mean, they're doing a great job. They're going to be ready whenever the time
baseball.
is. Yeah,
baseball. It's fun.
Absolutely. it's probably quite the experience. I'm sure they would have never guessed that they'd be in this situation either, So,
that's way to think outside the box. I'll give them that. That's
exactly.
That's interesting. That's really
Let me
interesting.
grab can I grab a charger really quick, guys? I don't want to die on you guys. I'm thinking
do you think?
I'm gonna set you.
We're not going
set
anywhere.
you right here. I'll be right back. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
On a side note, I'm glad you made it to Alex.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.
Things happen, you know how it is. Dealing with the kids.
Dude, I was worried about tonight. Xfinity was doing some work in my area. My internet had been out like all day.
Oh my gosh.
And it's still not working
problems.
right. So,
First world problems on that one.
yeah.
The problem right there, Comcast.
See if I can prop this up here. All right. There we go. Should be good now.
Yes.
So wait, so let me ask you this: Who's your best friends in the organization? So since you've been part of Yankees
in the organization,
like two names, like guys. When you guys get together, you guys are chilling, going out, and just
man, that's a tough one. I'm not gonna lie to you. We're having one of our guys' birthday, Chad Bell. It's one of our he's one of my good buddies in the team. It's his birthday today. So, like I said, we're going to go out and it's basically a team ordeal. Like I'm not going to lie to you, the group of guys we have right now in the minor leagues are as tight knit as I've ever experienced in my minor league. Like in my time with minor leagues, like it's hard to explain until you're out there around us every day. But like from the time we stretch as a group in the morning to like the end of the day, like guys are sitting around the cafeteria later in the day, like after lunch is over with, and we're talking, watching. They have MLB reruns from postseason from last year. I mean, it's just it's a different feeling what we got going on right now. I mean, one of my roommates back from 2019, Eric Wagman, that's one of my boys. I'd probably say he's one of my best friends in the system. My roommate here at the Chase Suites right now is Josh Burrow. He's one of my good buddies. But to just to not make it'd be tough to leave anybody out. So I'm just going to say from the whole, like, I mean.
Yeah,
there's such good chemistry from a group, like it's different. It's different.
So when you guys are going out to dinner, who's the first one throwing the credit card down when it's time to pay the bill?
No. I can't. I won't be able to speak on all that.
All right. Who's the first one magically? I gotta go to the bathroom when that.
Yeah. You know what, guys? On second note.
Oh, wait a minute.
The crocodile. I'm trying to put it in there.
Let's just say everybody pulls their weight. Everybody pulls their weight.
There you go. Team effort. I love it. What was it like playing with Anthony Volpe last year?
So I was never on a team with Volpe, which I was actually talking to him the other day about this, because we in some of our scrimmages that we've had a couple inning inter squads here building up to last week. And he was hitting one, I was hitting two in the lineup, and I'm like, before the game starts, I'm like, Volpe, this is weird. This is the first time I ever played on a team with you. And I mean, I've seen him around, obviously, coming back from 2019, and everything. And but that's the first time I've been in the same lineup as him. And kid is special. And I mean, that's no joke. I mean, I'm sure you type in his name and a million people will already tell you that. But being in the locker room, being around this guy, the way he handles himself, I can't believe. I think he's 20 years old. Is he 20? Is that
20 years old.
Completely could fool me. Like, it carries himself like he's been around the system for way more years than what he has. And hoping we're on the same team this year, at some point. And I'm excited to be in the regular season with him,
So you challenged him to a race he had a couple times, just to try to put the 20-year-old back in his place once in a while.
So it's funny you say that. Everything is a competition. Like we do all our speed work. We're doing speed work stuff right now as a group, and it's a competitive from all sides. So everything you look at. Like, I mean, we got guys. Because I mean, Volpe's a guy that his first step is incredible. Like, whether it's defensively, you got guys like him and Dunham going neck and neck daily. Like I mean, they are cutthroat towards each other. It's so funny to watch their competitive, side go back and forth. Volpe's chirping Dunham, Dunham's chirping Volpe. I mean, it's fun. It's a really fun environment, and it's a friendly, competitive environment that really just makes everybody better. And I mean, there's days where Volpe gets me off the line. There's days like we had top end speed today, and Volpe's wanting to go another rep to so we can push each other and the speed and everything, and it's really fun.
All right,
That's awesome.
So Brandon, with the season coming up for you, what is your one main goal that you want to improve for yourself for the season?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm doing everything I could possibly do. I've kind of geared my off season around being healthy, man. Like I think if I have a full healthy season, like I've kind of frustrated to think about what my season could have looked like last year had I played more than 75 games.
Okay, but other than that, like because I think that's a goal like everybody. Because like think about it. We look at John Carlos and like John Carlos, Aaron Rodgers, like everyone's always interested. I think that's probably something everybody wants that's in baseball.
So what's that? I would say secondly, a big focus for me is going to be stealing bases. I want to steal more bases. I need to be more aggressive on the base path.
Yes.
I like that.
That's a
please
kind of thing that has been well known.
Hey, Brandon, the Yankees need that, brother. You're the man. I'm telling you.
I'm agreeing,
man.
I'm agreeing.
Yeah, so that's kind of I would say my big focus. We've been working on it a bunch. Matt Tallarico's our base running coordinator, and he's done a great job getting everything in line for us. We work on it daily. It's something that used to kind of be like a, hey, get some reads in before, watch the pitcher kind of thing. Like he takes it to another level. Like we work on it daily, just like you would work on hitting daily, And I mean, there's going to be guys that you're going to be surprised. They're going to be like, wow, that guy stole that many bases. I didn't think he could run, and
That's something
I mean,
to look forward to, man.
I'm telling you, there's a lot. If you were to come to some of our spring training games, you're going to see guys stealing bases that, I mean, yesterday in the game, you got Anthony Siegler, a catcher, stealing bases, like, I mean, we've prioritized speed. Basically we're doing sled stuff, we're doing sprint work, like all this stuff, and it's across the board, so it's going to be a good year.
Don't worry, Brandon. Hopefully you're going to probably see us at some games anyway this season because
hey, Ricky Henderson, watch out.
So how much longer are you guys down here for?
So we've been here for sorry if you hear my dog drinking water behind me. So we've been down here. We had a mini camp going on. I think pitchers catchers for the mini camp reported in like the first, maybe January 31st or something along those lines. The position player camp started like a week later, but minor league camp starts on Monday. So we have this weekend off. We have pictures and stuff tomorrow for picture day or whatever. But after that, I mean, we're kind of full go. Start Monday. We got, I think they said it was like 80 something more guys coming in that weren't down here. So
wow,
it'll be kind of the first full deal of spring training now.
The whole army.
2020 got, yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, full locker room, absolutely.
Well, Mark, Alex, and I might have to take a road trip out to see you in Tampa and go to a couple of
games. It's a far road trip for me.
Yeah, you live like right down the street. Me, I got to come all the way from St. Augustine.
Ooh, wow, that's not as far as South Florida.
I probably have short hours less of a drive than you, Alex. It's almost about 2 or 3 hours.
It's an hour less that I don't want to be on the road.
Sorry, you guys take the long trip, man. I'll sit in the backyard. I'll have my cigars and just be chilling, just waiting for the phone call that you're an hour away, and then I'll still have another half an hour to get there.
So our buddy Danny, that's not here tonight, usually likes to ask our guests some quirky questions. So I got one for you: Star Trek or Star Wars?
Not gonna lie to you, my roommate Josh gives me stuff about it. Gives me a hard time about it all the time.
Like, you've never seen it.
I've never seen either one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a movie, like I'm not a superhero. I'm not like I've just never cared. I've never watched a single Marvel movie. Never.
Oh my God, Danny's gonna cry.
I'm not into Star Wars.
You just broke Cardona's heart.
There goes the whole. Are you gonna watch the Batman movie?
Yeah, it's just never been one of my things. I don't know. They're like, man, you're missing out on it. And I'm just like, well, I mean, I missed out on it this long. I think I'll be all right to this point,
What are things that you do like to do in your spare time then?
I'm a big outdoorsman. I like fishing. I like in off season. I ever since I've been professional, I go on an off season hunting trip every year. I've got family that bow hunts out in northern Missouri.
Which bow hunt?
I've went to what's that?
What's your bow hunt? Boar?
So I deer hunt. No, we go for whitetail.
Okay.
I grew up around it. I got family from Southern Alabama. Grew up hunting and stuff.
You don't have to be from Southern Alabama like hunting. When
What's
I was
that?
in New York, you don't have to be from Southern Alabama like hunting. When I was over there in New York, okay, my dad he took me over to upstate New York. We go hunting all the time. I remember the first time he shot a deer, and I was like, whoa. I remember my first time shooting a rifle. I was about 6 years old. It was my dad's 12 gauge, and I was trying my best to hold it up myself. I'm like doing everything. The way the story goes is I fired that. I finally pulled that trigger, and when I did, I flew back, and my dad caught me before I hit the tree.
Caught it right in the teeth, huh?
Yeah, I was flying. It's like a little.
I think everybody
that
shot a rifle at a young age gets that scope line on their eye from where they don't hold it properly. You only make that mistake one time though. You learn after that one mishap.
Never again. You learn very well how to put that weight into the butt.
Absolutely.
So one thing we like to ask also, who's the best pitcher you've ever faced, and who is the pitcher that you feast on the most in the minor leagues so far?
You know, from feasting on, I wouldn't have a name, to be honest. I'm really bad at remembering guys that I've like names of guys I face. Like it's just a name on the card for me. You know,
you're saying this now. You're gonna make it to the pros, and then you're gonna get that one guy who's like, "Oh, you don't remember me? I'm gonna give him some high."
I face a lot of really good pitchers, but I mean, I would say the guy I guess that stood out the most. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez with the Orioles. Okay. I faced him back in 2019 in Low A. He's a really good pitcher. He's a polished. I don't know. I think he's one of the top pitching guys in baseball. You know.
Yeah, I heard that he was the top, possibly top pitching prospect, especially for the Orioles. They got that battery They got that battery coming up soon.
Yeah, he's a really good pitcher. There's that may be one of the only names I can really rattle off for you. To be honest, I mean, it's one of those things where I'll get the pitcher one time, the pitcher gets me. That's kind of how it goes, and I don't really look too far into it, you know.
Who was your baseball team growing up as a kid? And after you became a pro, do you guys like stop being fans? Is it weird to still be a fan of your childhood team when you're playing for another organization? Like, how does it work? I've always wondered.
So I mean, I grew up. The only major league games I'd gone to until I was, you know, I guess still because I haven't been to any major league games. I'm always playing during major league. So the only major league games I've been to, I went to a couple Braves games when I was a kid because it's, you know, Atlanta's the closest major league team to me. You know, being I think like 4.5, 5 hours from Pensacola. Trying to think. I went to some Rays games in high school. Being that we played the state championship down in South Florida every year. So our high school team would take us to Rays games. I can't remember who the Rays were playing that year. But regardless, those are the only two teams I went to. But I grew up, I would say more of it. It was literally a hybrid between, I love the Yankees. I'm not going to lie. Like, I know it's kind of cliche. I'm with them. But, like, I grew up every video game I played with baseball, I was playing with the Yankees. You know, being a shortstop, middle infielder, every guy idolized Derek Jeter, you know.
Absolutely.
But from an overall standpoint, I would say I was probably like a bigger Braves fan solely because I went to games and could kind of see myself, you know. I could see myself in that stadium because that's one of the stadiums I've been to. I won't give any names, but I knew some guys on the team that grew up huge Boston Red Sox fans, like crazy Red Sox fans. And now that they're with the Yankees, they can't speak that name. So obviously, I don't know. I don't ask feelings, but I would imagine that they keep their thoughts to themselves. You know, so
they're the guys off in the corner by themselves, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up a Yankees fan, living in Rhode Island. Man, it was rough as a kid.
I can imagine.
It was not fun, especially after 04. I was like, all right, can you guys just like leave me alone? Like, go away.
Don't worry, Dave. It was not that good down here in Florida. When I moved down here, it was like Braves country and Marlins country. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My part of Florida is weird though, because it's almost like Alabama. I mean, you're basically Alabama, Georgia. You know, you don't feel like South Florida is a completely different feel from the Panhandle of Florida. So,
well, come on. I mean, Panhandle. Everyone calls the Panhandle Lower Alabama. Let's be real.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, for football, you got a bunch of Saints fans because you're right. You know, an hour and a half to whatever from New Orleans. I mean, it's. But I mean, for baseball, I mean, I would say I was a Braves fan. I loved Chipper Jones growing up. I mean, all those guys. You know, I had all their posters and stuff when they'd have the book fair or whatever at school. I can remember going there and getting, you know, begging my parents for money so I could get, you know, a poster of Derek Jeter or, you know, a Braves poster or whatever. But
So you feel bad that Andrew Jones didn't get in the Hall of Fame this year?
yeah, I kind of it bothers me a little bit, you know. Great player, you know. I mean, I can remember him being center field for as long as I, you know, from a young kid, you know. So
His son is looking pretty good as a player too.
he's been all over Twitter lately, huh?
Oh yeah, I
That
just
was
saw
awesome.
the video before about his son being heckled and just cranking one off the pitcher.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yep.
Just take him deep to center field to
Oh,
shut
yeah.
him up. I guess that's one way to do it.
So when you go out for dinner, what's your go-to meal? What's your favorite meal?
I love Italian food. I love Italian. So there's a place here we get all fired up about it. Me and some of the guys in the locker room. Our last couple of years at spring training, we'll go to Maggiano's. It's like a chain Italian place here, and they have that. It's like $30. You can get all you can eat, like for the group of guys, you know. So we'll all sit around the table and agree on like it's like two entrees. You get two appetizers, and it's unlimited. So when you get two of each or whatever, so we'll all pick it out, and basically just stuff our faces, on one Sunday afternoon of spring training and get all the guys together. I love Italian. Like I like anything Italian food. I'm a sucker for cheesecake. Cheesecake has been something that I've started eating. I guess probably tried it first in probably college and then I just have been addicted ever since. So you can always count on good cheesecake from an Italian restaurant. So why not?
My sister knows best what to get me for Christmas, and it's called a Junior's cheesecake. She orders that for me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. That's from Brooklyn. That's from Brooklyn right there. That's the best.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh yeah. So Brandon, what you got to do is you got to go down to in St. Petersburg. You got to go down to Mazzaro's. It's a huge. I don't know if you've been there, but it's a huge Italian market. Like you're talking, you get everything there. You can
really?
Get. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to try it. I like any Italian place. I've kind of will stick to what I'm familiar with. There's just so many places here. The Northeast has really good Italian as well. There's a place right across when I was in Hudson Valley this year. It was literally right across the street from the field. I can't think of the name of it now, but I mean, great pasta, so that's the great thing that I will give this. I'll brag on the Northeast. Like there's some unbelievable food up there. It's different.
Yes, we do.
The diners,
Yes,
I love diners. Like I'm a big breakfast guy. Every corner you turn on, there's some kind of like cool diner. So my wife got with me this last season.
I'm
eat a different diner every day.
That's always a nice thing to go there. And you're getting different food, and it's a different atmosphere all the time. And it's not like you're going to those establishments that are like, oh my gosh, it's the same TGI Fridays all over the place type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before we cut you loose, we wanted to show you a couple of things. So remember the other day when I was asking if you like fitteds or snapbacks? So we got you a little gift. Got you a hat with our logo on it on the front.
Hey, okay.
And I went off your number from last season up in AA. So hopefully you still end up rocking the same number, snapback style. And there's something else. Manny's going to throw it up on the screen that we got made for you too. So we got you a T-shirt made with the Bronx Muchachos logo on the front and your name and number on the back. So just let us know where you want it shipped to, and we'll get it out to you as soon as we can.
Dang, well, I appreciate it, guys. Y'all don't have to do all that, though.
Yeah, it's a way of us saying thank you for spending some time with us tonight. So it's the least we can do.
I appreciate that. I'll give y'all an address once we get off here. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well,
since you're going to the cigar bar, what's your cigar of choice if you're going to the cigar bar?
I haven't smoked many cigars in my life, so I'm kind of gonna take it aisle by aisle and kind of check it out and ask for some expertise from some other guys.
Well, you could always ask Mark right there. He is the cigar expert of us.
I got a couple of recommendations too.
Yeah,
okay.
I get Cubans from Miami, so I go down that road.
I need that.
I have
that minor league budget.
Trust me, if you want to connect, I gotta connect for you on that stuff.
Brandon, if they have them, you want to find their Maker's Mark infused cigars. They got the red wax on the top of it. They're very, very delicious. So if you happen to see that one, go.
Maker's Mark infused.
That's my go-to. Yep.
Okay. I may have to try that tonight.
All right, man. You got to go do your thing. So thank you very much for joining us.
Have fun.
Yeah, guys. Thanks again for auditing for me. I appreciate that, and
No
I appreciate the follow and everything, and reaching out and all that. So it's been fun,
Absolutely,
and I'll be
bro.
keeping up with you guys.
I appreciate it.
Sounds
man.
good.
Thanks a lot.
See you guys. Appreciate
All
it.
right, take it easy. Thanks.
All right. Well, that was our interview with Brendan Lockridge. Fellas, you want to discuss some of what's been going on in MLB since we kind of got caught in between the CBA negotiations and the Jeter stuff?
Me to go there right now because, like, yeah, I'm a little pissed off right now. Like, yeah, I don't want to go there. F Manfred, F the owners. They could all, you know what? All their mothers messed up on something they should have swallowed on. That's all I'm saying.
I like the subtlety behind everything you're doing there, buddy.
Hey, I'm not saying anything at all. Okay, I'm keeping this clean, but you can use your imagination. What I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen.
Keeping it PG-13 for everybody.
Exactly, and I'm not even using any bad words because if I wanted to use the words I wanted to use, we might be making this show over in Brooklyn right now. Yeah. I got some words for the owners and for Rob Manfred, but
yeah, this has just been absolutely miserable. I saw a Twitter post that it showed all the owners and their net worths and stuff, and
I saw that. Yep,
you got the Reds owner worth $400 million, the Diamondbacks owner worth $600 million, and then on the other hand, you got the Baltimore Orioles owner who's worth $2 billion, and his team's a complete dumpster fire. Like,
the Orioles are a whole nother ball
like this.
Well, the Orioles are a whole nother ball game. I mean, the owner of the Orioles turned around, never wanted to dive into the international markets ever. So I mean.
Well, that's his problem.
It was, but that's every other team. They turn around, any trade they would do is like, oh, just throw your international money our way, and like that. That's how Cashman always got money. Like, okay, we'll trade, but give us some international money along the way, and just use everything that they would do. I mean, they never had good facilities down the DR or even Venezuela. Like they had to invest in a lot of things, and they're building that up now. So it'll be all 30 teams are now fully invested in Latin America. Which it's with I think 30% of major leaguers come from Latin America. So I mean, everyone should be invested down there. Everyone should take a look at what's going on down there. There's tons of talent coming from those areas. And we don't have to go into the whole thing about them not being in school at age starting from for most of them at age 12 or whatnot. I mean, go over to Europe and go to South America. They do the same thing with all the soccer stars down there. They're playing soccer from even 10 years old, 8 years old. They're scouted, they're put into academies, and the cream rises to the top. I mean, they're taught just to play that sport, and that's all they're doing. So I mean, all the other countries are doing the same thing that we're the United States doesn't do, but we have different laws and different things going on. So that's a whole nother thing. Speaking of the CBA, I think it's just an absolute travesty that didn't come around, didn't get done. I think the owners are still trying to play this game that they're going to win. They want to win everything no matter what. They want to win.
Did you hear this BS about like on Tuesday, was it, or whatever, that they stayed till like 2:30 into the morning, Monday, Tuesday, whatever night? Yeah. Oh, so yay. Now that we're under a deadline, we're going to stay till 2:30 in the morning. You know what, you little pieces of, you should have been doing this since like, day one. Because it was going to come. And you knew
if you listen to the union turned around, they were turning around, they were trying to engage them from back in this time last year, and the owners didn't want to engage.
And I'm getting to the owners. They should have taken care of this instead. But you know what? They don't give an F. None of them give an F about it. Okay? They're looking at right now is this. Oh, a couple of months, we saved some money. Look at it. We saved money the COVID year. We're going to save money again. That's all they care about. And all these owners that are not even making $1 billion, you're pathetic. You shouldn't be freaking owners. You should sell your team. There's people out there that has money like Jeff Bezos and freaking Tesla's people and all that kind of stuff that have way more money than you even deserve that could be running that team, and they'll do just as part of the job as you're doing anyway because they don't know baseball just like you don't know.
I'm just done overall with people owning teams that don't know anything about baseball. That's like giving someone a Ferrari that's never driven a standard before. Like it's just something
I don't
you just
care
don't
if you
do.
don't know things about baseball, but you know what? Hire people that do know things about baseball. How about that?
Oh, absolutely. No, I totally agree. And I got pissed because I stayed up all night that night watching and just waiting to, and then as soon as Hal left, bro, I was kind of feeling optimistic, although we weren't expecting Bob Nightingale to get, clowned the way he did. As soon as Hal left, I was like, oh no. I'm like, this is going one of two ways. Either they got it done and they're going to announce it in a couple of hours after everybody comes back from sleeping, or this is just over with. And then you got Manfred up there just laughing and everything. After
practicing his golf swing. Don't forget the golf swing.
Yeah, practicing his golf swing. Yeah.
I never had high hopes for the deal getting done. I was also listening to people talking that the owners are fully aware that they can miss all of April as long as they get more. I think May 1st or within the first few days of May. Like as long as they get games starting then, they still get every single dollar from regional sports networks. So like all the TV deals that they do, like they don't lose a dime of that. So they're sitting pretty there. They're gonna try to work it that way. And I personally believe that if they don't retro pay the players for what all the games missed, then you have extended playoffs for especially this year off the table, and everyone's going back to square one. Like everything's going backwards. So
yeah,
owners got to make owners are the ones who have to now take the step to make things right for the players because the owners were trying to do because everything that like Alex Wood on Twitter was sitting there going at the 23rd hour, the owners were submitting things and then they were just trying to slide certain things in there like for the stupid luxury tax that's up there. They're trying to
they were trying to put the
stipend
old deal back in.
Mm-hmm. Well, not just that, but not just that. They're trying to put the players' food stipend. They're trying to make that part of the luxury tax, like add that number into there. They were trying. They never want to expand that luxury tax, even though it's proven that it doesn't matter. That it's a soft salary cap that the players never wanted and were swindled into accepting. You got guys like the Marlins and the Rays especially. They're being sued by the Players Association that they don't reinvest their money that they're given through luxury tax or revenue sharing. They just turn around, they pocket because you can see by their salaries that they don't expand their salaries, given $20 million here, $10 million there, or anything like that. So why should their owners are taking W's, but the players are sitting there going, we're getting the young guys paid, and we're going to expand we're going to get that number moved up for the CBT. So why are we going to even have any conversation at that point?
Hey guys, real quick. So I don't know if you guys have MLB Network or ESPN notifications on. There's a report out there by Jeff Passan and all these guys that teams and basically everyone is trying to figure out, are they going to have a draft or not have a draft? And then
oh my god!
Wait, what kind of draft?
Well, hold on. The quote headline says to draft or not to draft. Amid uncertainty, multiple MLB teams have asked league to cancel Rule 5 draft this season.
I heard that was coming around that they're looking to cancel it for the season, but I wasn't 100% sure whether that was going to happen or not.
That's interesting.
That's on ESPN.
Yes, ESPN just pulled out a quick report on that and alert as well.
Yeah. Very interesting.
By the way, sometimes I seem to forget that Rob Manfred works for the owners. Like he's basically their puppet, right?
Yeah,
and it's like every other major sport that we have in this country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Roger Goodell works for the owners. Fucking Gary Bettman of hockey works for the owners of hockey of their teams. Like he's basically like all these commissioners. All they're doing is basically, they're the face of all the franchises. But what doesn't help is when this same person considers the championship given out yearly as a piece of steel. I mean, that doesn't
piece of metal.
A piece of metal. Like that doesn't help things when you're a fan, right?
No. Like so I wish that our commissioner for baseball was as good as Roger Goodell. Like as much as Roger Goodell could get blamed for a lot of things, guess what? he's at least keeping football popular. People still watch football. Football is the number one sport in this country.
Yeah, and well, I will go a little bit further. I'm not saying that Roger Goodell insists his change, but at least he acknowledges it, right? At least he goes on to say, yes, we have an issue. Rob Manfred will never say that because obviously of all his bad reputation that he's had already with the whole freaking league. So he ain't gonna say that.
And right now,
Rob Manfred wants to turn around and wants all these changes. He wants the pitch clock. He wants the ban on the shift, but he wants to be able to implement the. So it used to be that the owners could or anything changing for the game, you present it to the players union. If the union says no, we're not doing this, then they said, okay, well, we're going to wait a year and then we're going to implement it unilaterally the following year. Manfred wants now to have a 45-day window where it goes. If the union says no, it goes, okay, well, if I want it, I'm going to implement it in 45 days. So you're going to have to deal with it this season anyway. Like, how is that help out relations between the two? And how does that help the game anyway? When you're geared up, when you're training all off season and so far the beginning of the season to train your body to a certain degree, and then in the middle of the season you have to change it.
Totally agree. You want to move on to the polls now that we're done talking about this depressing storyline that's just not going anywhere fast? Let's have some fun.
Just so you know, owners, Rob, if you're listening to this is for you.
Yes.
I like the little gangster movie.
Oh wait, you got to do one for Hal. You got to do one for Hal.
Oh no! This is what Hal gets. Okay. A kiss and then a nice good slap.
All right, Dave. Now that Alex got all the slapping out of the way, why don't you slap everyone with some of the polls that we had this week?
Yeah, Manny, can you pull them up by any chance? Our awesome producer,
who joined us on the podcast for the first time.
I know, finally, man. It only took 14 weeks. My God, he's the man behind the curtain, so I can't really mess with that.
Yeah,
you know.
And he kept his stormtrooper picture up there instead.
He did. He very much did. Very impressed. Very, very impressed. Although I'm waiting for him to put the new one up, the new avatar. So, all right, here we go. So this poll was a lot of fun. Out of our minor league affiliates, the Tampa Tarpons, Hudson Valley Renegades, Somerset Patriots, and the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, who do you think would win in the 3-game series based on where our top prospects played last season? Scranton Wilkes-Barre got 53.2% of the vote. Somerset Patriots got 20.2% of the vote. Hudson Valley got 12.8%. Tampa Tarpons got 13.8% with 94 votes. And it definitely helped getting retweeted by the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. So shout out to them for doing that.
Thank you.
Very good poll. It was very successful. So Scranton wins that one.
They win that handedly.
Handedly, man. So, going back to the suppressing headline, who's to blame for the lockout debacle, which we did this last week when all this craziness was going on? So the owners took full ownership at 60%. Rob Manfred at 32.5%. I feel like these two should have been one option because I blame both of them. And whoever's saying that it's the player's fault, you have something seriously wrong with you. Do you realize?
7.5% people that did it? Guess what?
I don't care. They can still get it.
That's all you guys are. You're a bunch of clowns.
I don't care. Like, do people realize that 60% of this league makes under $1 million? I know that might sound like a lot of money, but you got to realize that these guys, when they go and play in different states, they're paying taxes in every single city and state that they play in during the season. So pull your head out of your six and stop blaming the players. The players are not to blame. It's the owners. It's the commissioner. They are the arbiters of this game. It is their job to move this game forward and make it successful, not pull this stunt and have the players and the fans completely getting the shaft here.
On top of that,
trying to keep this PG.
On top of that, Dave, just so you guys know that you get all you fans that are actually saying that's the players. Also, understand this for a minute. You guys are watching MLB Network. Remember, MLB Network is owned by the commissioner and the owners. They're in charge.
Propaganda machine.
So remember, it's propaganda. They're gonna make it seem like it's the player's fault, no matter what. But if you really look at it from the outside in, it's the owners. They got the money. They don't want to pay. Okay.
Nope.
So there shouldn't be anyone out there struggling that's a Major League Baseball player. But yet we have people out there that are struggling that are Major League Baseball players. Sorry about that. Let's move on.
Yeah, well, one thing everyone's still got to remember with that is that people don't go to watch the owners play games or to watch the owners do stuff. They don't go there for the commissioner. They go there to watch the players play. So if you're blaming the players, you don't like baseball, you don't like the team that you quote unquote rep, you shouldn't even be bothering to watch anything anymore. You stick to whatever other sport you want to do and just leave baseball alone.
Anyone got
watch curling?
Anyone got a football that could kick right through his little field goal teeth?
Yeah.
Got a field goal post of teeth. He does.
Next.
Please, before I get any angrier.
Alex angry.
I am going Hulk smash on Rob Manfred, I swear.
Yeah. So I think that.
Fitted caps.
So I think this is the last one that we got. So this one was a lot of fun. So on this.
Ooh, yeah. Let's try this again.
podcast-
We're gonna do this again later on because I'm sorry. Only 10 votes. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's whack. That's whack.
I'm sorry. But
apparently, fitted ball caps are better than snapbacks. 20%. There's been an ongoing fight on this podcast between Mark and myself and Alex and Danny. So
it depends on the situation. Okay, it depends.
Never depends. It's always fitted. It's always fitted, man.
No.
Does it depend on the situation if we're rocking boxes of briefs, bro?
Yeah, it does. Do I want to make my stuff look big for the wife or not?
Can that happen at all?
Oh my god. We're all gonna get in trouble now. Jesus.
Hey, we kept it PG. Just use your imagination.
Barely. All right. That wraps up the polls. Alex, you got anything else for us, my man?
Yes, I do actually. That was awesome though. Okay, so everybody, please first remember if you have Apple Podcasts, to please leave a review and help us rise in the Apple algorithm. Second, to please invite all your baseball friends to our Twitter, IG, and Facebook accounts. The links are on our link tree, and remember that the person who gets the most followers to join will get a hat and shirt from the current giveaway that we have going on.
But there's a catch to that. They got to comment on that post and tell them who brought them into the group to get the prize. So that's where the confusion is.
That is true. Remember that you also we gotta know who brought you in. And then lastly, from myself, Danny, who's not here, Mark, Manny, and David, please have a blessed weekend. See you all next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.